There are plenty of Enlist E3 soybeans. But these beans are turbocharged with elite germplasm for greater performance. So when harvest comes, your yields are off to the races. Introducing Pioneer brand A-Series Enlist E3 soybeans with exclusive high-performing DNA like no other.
It's time for RealAg Radio on Rural Radio Channel 147 on Sirius XM. RealAg Radio and RealAgriculture.com is your home for insight and analysis of the issues that are impacting your farm business. Let's get real and get connected with RealAg Radio. Welcome to RealAg Radio here on Rural Radio 147, Sirius XM. Shaun Haney, your host here on this Thursday edition of the show. Thanks, everybody, for making RealAg Radio and Rural Radio 147 a part of your workday. And also, big shout out to everybody listening out there on the RealAg Radio podcast. Continue to tell your friends, your family, anybody you know that's involved in agriculture about this program and how they can listen to it. It's the more the merrier, let's say. So it's Thursday, which means it's the Farmer Rapid Fire, which is brought to you by Pioneer Seeds Canada. For more than 90 years, Pioneer has developed and tested products to meet your challenges. Okay, listen to this list. New Optimum Glide canola, Enlist E3 soybeans. What about some of the top performing corn products and industry-leading traits and technologies to maximize your yield potential? Pioneer's on-the-ground teams can help you get the right products for your fields. Visit pioneer.com/Canada to learn more. Today on the Farmer Rapid Fire, we've got some great guests. We're going to talk to John Seliga. He is with Pioneer Seeds Canada out in the deep southwest of Ontario. We're also going to hear from Logan Pizzey. He is in Manitoba. Mike Shewchuk is in Blaine Lake, Saskatchewan. Aaron Bowman is in Ontario. And Geneve NewCombe is in Nova Scotia. It'll be a lot of fun. If you have any feedback on today's show, send me an email, shaney@realagriculture.com, or call that RealAg feedback line, 855-776-6147. Looking forward to talking to this week's farmers. We're going to get to it right after a quick break. You're listening to RealAg Radio, brought to you by, of course, by Pioneer Seeds Canada. It's now time for a product spotlight with U.S. Borax. We're talking to Roger Gunning. So when we're talking about refined borate fertilizers, why does it matter where the borates come from?
It actually comes from Boron, California, which is a small town. It's one of the richest borate deposits on the planet. It's about the purity of the product, but for a few reasons, I think our North America farmers, we're closer. The convenience of our distributors and warehouse locations with no import restrictions. And this helps allow us to provide a better service than other borate fertilizer suppliers. Our customers, they can be confident that we're providing them with a refined borate product free from impurities that may pose a problem, for their crops.
Well, as we've been saying here on RealAg Radio for the past couple months, Granubor from US Borax. Ask for it by name and go to borax.com.
How's your seed quality? What should you treat with? What about herbicide carryover and environmental concerns? Spring is here, and you've got a lot of things to think about in regards to your pulse crop. The Pulse School on Real Agriculture has information and advice for all these questions and more to help you navigate this season. Brought to you by BASF. Pulse School episodes are available at pulseschool.com, realagriculture.com, or as a podcast on your favorite streaming service. Download the latest episode today.
And welcome back to RealAg Radio for the Farmer Rapid Fire, which is brought to you by Pioneer Seeds Canada. Make sure you go to pioneer.com/Canada to find out more. This week, we start off the Farmer Rapid Fire in Port Williams, Nova Scotia. We're talking to Geneve NewCombe. Geneve, great to chat with you.
Good to chat with you, too.
Okay, so tell us about your farm.
We have a mixed farm, or an old farm, I guess. We've been farming here in Port Williams since 1761. My husband's 9th generation, and my son that's on the farm now is the 10th generation to be farming this land. So we have a dairy cattle, broiler chickens, laying hens for eggs, an on-farm feed mill, and are fairly self-sufficient in growing our own feed needs. So we've got a lot going on here.
1761. That's amazing.
Yeah. No, it's something we take great pride in.
Now, on the farm there, do you still have some buildings from those original buildings, or how far do the buildings on the farm date back to?
The buildings date back to the 1800s that are still on the farm today. So the only thing that we can date back to the 1760s is some of the farmland.
That's got to give you a real, when you talk about the 10th generation, that's like a feat, that busts all rules when it comes to just business, family business in general, where, there's at some point things kind of stop or stuff happens, and, remember when so-and-so used to farm here, that kind of stuff. That's amazing, and a real credit to you and the entire family going back generations to be talking about the 10th generation on one farm.
Yeah, no, it's like I said, it's something we're quite proud of, and it is a real family operation. My husband and his brother, started farming together over 30 years ago now, and now our son and our nephew are part of the farm, and we're in the process of passing shares over to them and doing that succession planning. Yeah. So, I think because we've always just passed it along to the next generation, and we've always felt as the farmers that our responsibility is to keep the land in good shape and keep the farm profitable and pass it along as good as we found it or better to the next generation.
That sounds like a pretty good definition of sustainability to me. So now we've been hearing over the past number of weeks the Maritime's dry. We've been obviously seeing on the news as well fires in your province of Nova Scotia. How are the crops looking?
They're looking good now. It was a slow start for them. We had a cold, dry spring, so everything was able to get into the ground fairly quickly, but it was cool. And then last week, fortunately, we got the rain that we not only need it for our crops, but they need it for the fires in our province, and a good week of rain, and that's really brought the crops around.
Well, that's good.
And help with the fires too.
Yeah. Well, what is the fire situation now? Is it sort of calmed down a little bit, or are we still? And I apologize. It's sort of left the mainstream news, so it's not leading the news at night, and so it kind of gets out of the front of your mind. What is the situation?
So the fires in Halifax, I think, basically put out the ones in the western end of the province. As of last night, they said they are under control. So that was a really good news to hear. I know all the evacuation orders in the city have been lifted. So things are getting back to normal, except unless you're the person that's, had suffered great loss. I mean, it's going to take a while for them, but yeah. The fire situation itself is much better.
So what's the biggest challenge on the farm right now? You talked about being pretty self-sufficient when it comes to feed for the livestock, but overall, what's some of the things that keep you up at night when you think about your farm business?
Well, I try not to stay up at night about it.
Well, good strategy.
We try to be proactive. I mean, we lost a barn about a year ago due to snow loads, so we're in the process of building a new barn right now. So that's taking some time and energy. And the last year or two, it's been sometimes more challenging to bring a source of fat in for our farm. So we've just purchased an expeller to crush the soybeans and make our own soy oil. And so we're still trying to get everything lined up to get that operational. So hopefully in the next few weeks or months, we'll be processing our own fat here too, just to keep that sustainability and keep as much on farm as we can.
Did you have to go to that length? It's that hard to get product into the farm?
I suppose you don't have to go to that length because, I mean, people, of course, are still buying a fat source. It seemed to be a bit of a challenge by times. And, we have the ability to grow the soybeans here. We can purchase some soybeans from our neighbors. So we find anytime we can cut out a middleman, it's better for us.
It sounds like kind of one of the farm strategies is exactly that, to not necessarily have to rely on you use the word self-sufficient numerous times. So it sounds like that's kind of something that forms the basis of how you operate.
It does. And, so the more control we have over the quality of ingredients that we're feeding our animals, that we know the better nutrition they're getting, we know the highs and lows, and it just seems to keep things a little more even here and a little more self-confidence in what we're doing.
Yeah. How's your level of optimism for this year at this point? Are you feeling pretty good about 2023, or what's your thoughts?
Well, we're feeling pretty good about it right now. That was a few weeks ago when the first silage was going in. The crop was the quality of the crop was good, but it was much lighter due to the dryness. But now that we've had that rain, things are coming along good. And I think as farmers, we're always optimistic.
Yeah, you have to be, right?
Yeah, and like I said, you try not to ever let things bother you too much, because you only have control over so much, and the things you don't have control over, you just try to make the best decisions to mitigate any anxiety those can cause you.
Yeah, well put. Well, Geneve, thank you so much for joining us here today. Really do appreciate it. I'll tell you what, to have a sign there that says established in 1761 is pretty bloody cool. So congratulations on that, and hopefully we chat with you again here on the Farmer Rapid Fire.
Thank you very much, and we do have a sign that says that, so we're ahead of the game.
Good stuff. And we take the Farmer Rapid Fire into Hampton, Ontario. We're talking to Aaron Bowman. Aaron, how's it going?
Pretty good. I definitely can't complain. We got a boatload of rain on Sunday and into Monday, where I am, and I think Western Ontario got pounded with hail yesterday. So just by Twitter, I don't know that for fact, but it looks like they had pretty bad storms down through there. But yeah, no, we picked up just short of 2 inches of rain. That was well needed, I'll put. We weren't as dry as some other guys that I know, but we definitely aren't complaining about moisture now.
Okay, so how much time does this buy you?
Probably quite a bit, just because right now it's not as sunny, it's not as warm, so we're not losing it to evaporation, I'll say, and the crops are pretty small, minus some hay fields that I still need to get off, and I should have off, but anyways, like anything, it's you bid your time to where it needs to be.
Yeah. What else is going on the farm this week?
So right now, as you know, I'm a pioneer rep, so we're in major return mode. Corn needs to get back into cold storage, so they really push us hard to get it to our warehouse, and then they obviously have to take care of the logistics from here. And with these rains we're getting, it's impacting us a little bit in the sense that I have everything is open cab, so I can't just go out and pick it up. I don't have anything enclosed, so that's kind of being a bit of an issue this week. But yeah, we'll get her done and get it sent back to Chatham. And then on the farm itself, on the organic side, where we got some scuffling that needs to be done, but the dry weather made it really nice to keep the weeds down, and so the corn is actually in really good shape with regards to interweeding. And the pastures are getting a bit beat up after 2 inches of rain, so we'll have to we'll probably broadcast some clovers and some other grasses out there and let the cows punch that in and hopefully reseed it for us.
Yeah. Do you have wheat?
I do. I'm very happy. It's looking really, really good. It's all done pollinating about the middle of last week. So yeah, we're just in the final stretch here, and I'm looking. It's looking very positive, but we'll see. If you get a hail event like some of the guys down in Western Ontario, I think, got yesterday, it could be pretty devastating pretty quickly. So
yeah, but it seems with in a pretty widespread rain from what I've been hearing. There's probably somebody listening to this that'll correct me and say we didn't get any, but for the most part, it seems like it was kind of widespread. It's gonna be a real lift for people because I was. The last few weeks on the rapid fire here, there's been a lot of it's not horrible yet, but I'm close. I'm really close to the knife here where it's going to start to impact potentially what my yield is. This couldn't have been better timed. Better time coming 10 days earlier, but I guess we'll take it.
Oh, 100%. No, the wheat was the only thing, in my opinion, that was maybe getting beat up. Like I joined the Yen Challenge this year, and I got my tissue cultures back, or my tissue cultures. Geez, still like at University of Guelph. My tissue samples back, and my potassium levels were in the literally in the pooper. So it was terrible. Like, it was absolutely horrendous, and I just attribute that to the movement of potassium with regards to the drought. So I'm hoping with even that, that's going to be a pick me up for the wheat.
Yeah, absolutely. So on the corn, does this how do you think the corn's looking here at this point?
The corn, everything's so small, right? So its water demand it's still important. Don't get me wrong. What I'm noticing is just everything's taken off. Like I was actually away last week. I was in California, and I came back, and it was just really neat to see kind of that the glimpse from one week to the next, how much everything had changed even without the water. And it was pouring when I came in Monday morning, and by yesterday morning, it was phenomenal how much the corn had just sucked it up and taken off. Get some more sun and get some more heat on it, and it'll explode. It will explode.
Yeah, I forgot. I forgot you were in California. You had sent me some great photos.
Yeah. It was a last minute call with Pioneer stuff and everything else. I booked it on the Sunday and flew out the Tuesday. So very, very, very last minute for a wedding. But the girl that I was going for there, she said, "Well, we'll hold 2 plates for you and we'll drive on." So.
Nice. Okay. And how about weed control this year? Challenges?
Well, the classic challenges when you're in a dry year is anytime you're trying to use anything with residual that's water activated, you see the flaws of that, right? And so the early stuff that was applied, I see really, 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 really good control. But yeah, the stuff that was applied afterwards and didn't see water for 2 weeks, it's showing its scars now, right? And even myself, I wasn't going out putting down a residual without the rain in the forecast, and unfortunately I was away when it did. So I'm changing up my herbicide plan that I had laid down for the corn, and yeah, I guess that's farming, right? I don't want to be the retailer that has to take my stuff back, but
well, you kind of need to have that plan B and C in your back pocket, though, right?
Yeah, and lucky enough for me on the conventional side of things, it's all traded. So, we do have some fallbacks. I don't like relying on that, but it's there, right? And there is other products now that we have moisture and some other products that I can use to still give myself that rotation of herbicides. But yeah, I do like a good ground residual and just keep it clean right through and through.
How are you handling some of the marketing right now in this? This kind of market that's a head scratcher?
Yeah, that's a good question. We had pre-sold some things, so we're okay there. But yeah, I'm probably not a good enough person to even talk about it because I don't follow it enough. I rely on other people to kind of keep me in the loop and keep me on the straight and narrow. It is something I've never focused good enough on, and I let those who are every day staring at the spreadsheet to kind of dictate and recommend for me. So I'm definitely not the guy to ask that.
Yeah, do you use a marketing service to help you out then?
Yeah, and I have a guy that I've always kind of worked with. He never led me astray, and so when he said, "Aaron, I think you should," I definitely listen to him. He's very good. He's been very good.
Yeah, well, I think it's, to be honest, I think it's kind of important when you are, you can't be an expert in everything, right? Like you got to know where it's like, hey, I need some help here. It's for me, that's mechanics. I'm terrible. The most unmechanically inclined farm kid in the history of Canadian agriculture. So that's an example where I need to call a friend.
Oh yeah. Well, and until about last year, I was in the same boat with you, but it's getting harder and harder to find a mechanic that you're not paying a pile of money to. So I actually went back to Fleming College and started taking heavy diesel mechanic courses.
Look, really?
Just because of that. Because, you're paying $140 to $150 an hour for people that sometimes aren't as qualified as you'd want them to be working on machinery, right? So, yeah, I just said, well, I got to start learning because I was science from high school through till I left University of Guelph. and I always said I'll pay someone else to do that job for me, right? And more and more I'm finding it's just not there. And I think that's across the marketplace, to be honest with you.
What was your biggest takeaway in going back to take some of those courses? What was your biggest learning?
Anything powertrain, like engines, I still would tackle a lot of stuff that's out there today, but powertrains, transmissions, all those kind of things, and electrical's massive. I learned what I know now with a multimeter was massive. Like I can't even explain how stupid I was, I'll say, prior to taking it, because I really didn't know. I was ignorant. Like I never did any of that. Even in high school, I think I took small engines, the only course I ever took that was anything regarding training in mechanics.
Good for you, man. That's pretty cool. A lot of people don't take that initiative. Now, I'm not going to put my money where my mouth is. I'm not going to do it myself, but good on you for doing it. That's really good. Hey, Aaron, thanks so much for joining us here today on the Farmer Rapid Fire. All the best to you, and we'll check in with you a little bit later on the growing season, okay?
Sounds good, buddy.
We've got more coming up here on the Farmer Rapid Fire, brought to you by Pioneer Seeds Canada.
Did you know that Pioneer now has a full lineup of Enlist E3 soybeans? Take a look at Pioneer brand Enlist E3 soybeans for the highest yield potential and for the best agronomic package and herbicide trait options. From the lab to the field, Pioneer brand Enlist E3 soybeans are the best in beans, period. Ask your local Pioneer representative about Enlist E3 beans.
As you head out into the field this season, the Corn School's got you covered. Everything from tillage discussions, weed control info, field trial results, yield strategies, and more. The Corn School on RealAgriculture.com has the information and advice you need to help you succeed. Brought to you by Pride Seeds and BASF. Corn School episodes are available at cornschool.com, from RealAgriculture.com, or as a podcast from your favorite streaming service. Download the latest episode today.
Infuse some energy into your next corporate event, customer meeting, or conference with RealAg Radio, Canada's national agriculture radio show. Create a unique experience at your next event with host Shaun Haney, broadcasting RealAg Radio live on SiriusXM, featuring exciting guests, captivating interviews, and the latest news from the agriculture community. Contact advertising at realagriculture.com or call 587-787-1795 to book your on location with RealAg Radio today.
Welcome back to RealAg Radio and the Farmer Rapid Fire, which is brought to you by Pioneer Seeds Canada. I encourage you to go to pioneer.com/Canada to find out more. And we take the Farmer Rapid Fire into Binscarth, Manitoba, and we're talking to Logan Pizzey. Hey, Logan, how's it going?
Good. How are you, Shaun?
Pretty good. How are those crops looking?
They're all right so far, hanging on, and definitely could use a good rain, but we're sitting all right at the moment.
Yeah? Do you feel that you could use some moisture, or how is the moisture situation?
Basically, we've had 2 rain events since seeding, and both of them were thunderstorms, so it's just been super patchy. There's some that has potholes with water sitting in it, but the majority of our acres would be probably less than 2 inches, a lot of it less than 1.5 inches since seeding, and some of the lighter knolls and stuff, you're starting to see the effects now of that.
Could definitely use one of those, like a couple-day soaker, is what you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially, we've just gotten so much heat. I was just checking the latest crop report from Manitoba Ag, and I think our heat units to date are 150% of normal, so there's been a pile of heat. Yeah,
the Manitoba, like, it really feels like when I compare the temperature at our place in southern Alberta versus what the temperature's been in Manitoba, you have definitely been a lot hotter.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. And just the crop development, I mean, it really shows that. We have wheat that's just starting to head out. And last year I was looking at our spray records, and the last field that I sprayed herbicide on was June 27th. And we're going to be spraying fungicide for Fusarium at that time this year. So
Yeah, it's seeding went kind of quick. When it went right into spraying, it feels like our spray window has moved up a little bit here in portions of the prairies.
Yeah, for sure. No, we were just talking the other day. It's just kind of been nonstop. Last year, it seemed like our summer was super compressed just because we were later getting finished seeding, and this year we finished in decent time and was hoping it'd be a little less hectic of a summer, but so far it's just been one operation after another. So,
which crop looks the best?
We don't grow a pile of corn, but for sure it's the best start we've ever had for corn. It's looking really awesome, and it's been doing well with the heat. Compared to last year, it's just the canola, you actually like going and checking canola fields, whereas last year you just kind of looked the other way when you went by a canola field because they were rough all year long. So it's nice to have a good canola crop to look at.
And is that difference due to less flea beetle pressure, or what's the difference?
Yes, flea beetles are definitely part of it. We had, I think, just some good growing conditions as canola was coming out of the ground. Last year, we got some really heavy pounding rains, some cooler temperatures, and then the flea beetles got in there. And I remember last year listening to the Farmer Rapid Fire, and you were talking with other guys about canola being in its ugly stage and then canola coming out of its ugly stage. And I just feel like last year we never got out of the ugly stage. It just looked rough all year long. So, but this year it came out of the ground quick. We were lots of fields, like 5-6 days it was out of the ground, and it just never really looked back. So
yeah. How is all the machinery run? Have you had any troubles, or has everything gone pretty well?
Everything's gone pretty smooth for us so far. We've been lucky that way. So
that's nice. That allows you to kind of relieve some stress when you add some adversity out in the crop, and then plus you're also fighting machinery issues where things we just continually are broke down and things like that, or you can't get a part. That's where the temperature rises even more. So it's a bit of a stress relief in that regard.
Exactly. Yeah. We have such a tight window in all of Western Canada, really, that you hate losing even a few hours to machinery problems. So it's nice when it all works like it's supposed to.
Yeah. So, as the season moves ahead here quite quickly, when we do get to when it is harvest time, are you all ready and prepared for that, or do you still got some prep work to do?
We have a little bit to do, I guess, just go over a few of the combines and whatever, but nothing major really. So we're sitting all right in that regard.
Does a lot of that happen in the wintertime?
It hasn't, just because we haven't had a big enough shop to do it in, but working on a project this summer, and next winter should be better that way. We'll have room to pull them in and work on them in the winter. So.
Oh, nice. Especially where you are. Like, you get winter.
Yeah, that's right.
And
none of the t-shirt weather in December like you get in Lethbridge sometimes.
Yeah, but also, okay, we may have t-shirt weather in December, but we also have wind. So just, there's two sides to that coin. What about on the crop marketing? How are you making out there?
Not great.
What's going on?
Just personally for myself, I had a little bit of canola that I've been holding on to as it's crashed and crashed and crashed here. Should have sold it all a long time ago, but I guess we haven't really forward priced a pile of stuff, and this year was definitely the year to have done it. But it's hindsight, I guess.
Yep.
After 21, I think a lot of people kind of got cold feet doing that, and it's probably still a little bit in the back of your mind. And I mean, even this year, the way it's shaping up, I mean, the crops look all right now, but really the yield's going to make or break it in July, whether we get any rain or not, when that water usage is really high in the crop. And who knows, come August, September, we might be in a similar situation as we were in 21. It's hard to say at this point.
Yeah, when it comes to on the prairies, people locking in production contracts, the hangover from 2021 is still very, very much in effect. I have heard in general the North American farmer is undersold relative to, where some commodity analysts believe people should be, or just past history. And I think particular to the prairies, the other compounding factor here is it's that 2021 drought. People are very cautious on pulling the trigger when it comes to doing a production contract. And even when it's like 20 or 30% of their production, because some people harvested way less than that, right? And we're still feeling those effects today.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I mean, there's, I think, still big areas that they maybe wouldn't classify it as being in a drought right now, but it's not like that subsurface moisture has really got built up again either. I mean, we're just a few weeks away from a pretty severe drought in a lot of areas that maybe are sitting all right now. So,
have you ever looked at using like options instead of production contracts, or just not a good fit for you?
Yeah, I guess I've looked at them, and I mean, probably something that definitely we should be moving towards. It just seems like, especially, you go back a few months ago, or like 6-8 months ago, and it's just with the amount of volatility that there was in the markets, those options are pretty expensive for going very far out at all. So
true.
Maybe as the volatility hopefully starts to level off a bit, they will be a little more attractive option. But
yeah, no one said this farming is easy.
Yeah.
How many crops do you have under your belt now?
I guess my first one I ever grew, I was 12 years old. We started when us kids were 12. Dad would rent us 40 acres, and then that was kind of the way that we were to pay for our post-secondary education was with the 40 acres. So it'll be 17 for me this year.
Good for you. You know what? Good on your dad for doing it that way. Like you learned some lessons early.
Yeah, no, I'm really thankful for the opportunity, and it really, I mean, basically he gave us the use of the equipment for free, but then everything else was, the expenses were ours to pay, and the marketing was ours to do and whatever. So it really taught you some lessons at a young age. It was really good.
Yeah, absolutely. That's probably some of the cheapest, best education you'll ever have, for sure. Hey, Logan, really appreciate you joining us here this week, and hopefully Mother Nature cooperates, and we got ourselves a really good crop out there, so you feel the confidence to do some marketing. So thank you so much for joining us this week on the Farmer Rapid Fire.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
When we come back, we're going to stop in Saskatchewan and then head back out east. You're listening to RealAg Radio. It's the Farmer Rapid Fire, brought to you by Pioneer Seeds Canada.
Co-op AgZone Field is a digital agronomy tool designed to help optimize your operation. Through integrated layers of satellite imagery, soil maps, yield data, and more, Co-op Grow Team members use AgZone Field to provide organized, timely, in-season data, allowing you to make informed management decisions quickly and effectively. Trust your Co-op Grow Team to support your operation with AgZone Field. Contact your local co-op today.
Whether you're seeding, harvesting, or anything in between, the Wheat School on RealAgriculture.com has you covered. Timely agronomic information from industry experts available online anytime. Give your wheat crop a good start and a great finish with the Wheat School on RealAgriculture.com. Brought to you by C&M Seeds, Syngenta Canada, and the Alberta Wheat and Barley Commission.
Central Canada has received some rain. It would be really nice if Mother Nature would push west. Really nice. It just, need Mother Nature to cooperate. Farmer Rapid Fire brought to you by Pioneer Seeds Canada. Find out about all their great hybrids and technology offers by going to pioneer.com/Canada. And we continue the Farmer Rapid Fire in Blaine Lake, Saskatchewan. We're talking to Mike Shewchuk. Hey, Mike, how's it going?
Good, Sean. How you doing today?
Hey, pretty good. Okay, so how are those crops looking there in Blaine Lake?
Well, so far pretty decent. We had a nice rain there at the end of May and kind of got everything germinated that wasn't up. So crops are looking good so far, but right now we need rain really bad. Things are just kind of starting to go downhill a bit. I think it's just because the crops are growing so quick right now. Need moisture, but so far we've been pretty fortunate with how things are looking. But like I said, need rain now.
Yeah, it seems that well, I guess what's your temperatures been? Because what I've been hearing from a few people, especially where I am in southern Alberta, they've been a little bit relieved that we haven't had real intense hot temperatures yet, which has kind of bought us a little bit more time. What's been the temperatures in Blaine Lake?
We've been hot. I mean, we've been well above average and into June. I was actually just talking to our agronomist here a couple days ago, and he said I don't pay much attention to our heat units, but he does obviously, and he said our heat units right now are about 25% above average of what we usually get. So it's I guess that's probably why crops are growing so quickly. I'd say our crop staging is got to be 2 weeks ahead of normal. Like we just finished up our in-crop herbicide application just yesterday. And typically we don't finish up till the end of June, so we're quite far advanced actually for this time of year.
Yeah, you're east of North Battleford and north of Saskatoon. Are the dry conditions over quite a vast area, or are you in one of those unfortunate pockets?
Yeah, well, it's kind of funny because we had about a week, 10 days ago, a couple thunderstorms rolled through just east of us, and then another one just west of us. So we were kind of in a little unfortunate pocket here. That some of those clouds, those thunderstorms produced an inch of rain in a few spots that we missed. So a little unfortunate, but I mean, it looks like there might be some in the forecast coming. So we'll just keep our fingers crossed here.
Yeah. Which crop looks the best right now?
I would say canola's cabbaging out nicely, but a lot of the early stuff's starting to bolt already, which I don't really like. I like when it cabbages out for a while and just builds in, but it just, everything looks a little bit stressed. Wheat's starting to go to head on the early stuff, and it's just, I don't know. It feels to me like the crops are looking a little bit stressed, like they need water. And, you look in some of those lighter patches in the field also, they're yellowing off a bit now. I mean, things are, I think potential's kind of going down daily here if we don't get rain pretty quick.
I've heard a few people mentioning this, we're bolting. I don't like this. So you're not alone there. That seems to be I've seen a little bit of that on Twitter as well, people talking about that.
Yeah, exactly. It seems a little soon, driving by the crops daily, you see, this is cabbaging out nicely. Next day, why this is bolting? And obviously, I mean, we've had a lot of heat and we did have, some nice moisture in end of May there that really got things going too. But, it seems like it's a little bit too soon.
Has spraying gone okay?
Yeah, spraying's gone well. We've had, the wind has actually kept down. It's been fairly calm for last couple of weeks. So yeah, spraying actually went really well, and chemicals were good because plants were actively growing nicely, after that late May rain. So got some good kills on the weeds and stuff like that. So spraying season actually went really well and went quick here. So that was nice.
Mike, to you, does it feel like the whole season's going really fast?
Big time, Shaun. I mean, the seeding went quickly too. I mean, I think we finished up around the 20th of May, which, I mean, we're usually going till the end of May. So, but we didn't have any rain delays in there either. So, but yeah, it just feels like things are progressing really quick. Usually I don't have any time in June to go fishing or anything like that. Like I got 2 weeks here in June. That's wondering what the heck I'm going to do. So
well, go fishing.
It's good. The wife now the wife caught wind of that.
Yeah.
Lots of yard work.
Yeah, load up the RV. We're going camping.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, or at the yard work or do something. So
yeah. What is kind of your, when you can escape for a few days in the summertime? What do you like to do?
Yeah, we like that. We got a camping spot up at Dory Lake, so it's about 3 hours north of here. So we like to go up there, and kids like it too. There's a nice beach there and stuff. So yeah, we like to go fishing up to the lake and whenever we can. So, but usually we don't get there till July type of thing. So
yeah,
it's a little bit a little more laid back this year. We're gonna have a little more time, it looks like, and it's hard to say what the fungicide program's gonna do at this point. We're kind of dependent on rain right now. So
yeah, well, like big time. You're just kind of waiting to see, because if you do get that rain, you've got the conditions where you probably do need to use a fungicide, and if worst case scenario we don't get the rain, then that decision gets a lot easier.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it makes yeah, I mean, right now, if we get a rain here this week, and then, if it keeps up, crops are looking good, like they established well and everything. So, in that case, if we keep getting rains, we'll put that fungicide on. If not, then it makes it a pretty easy decision to, spend a little more time at the lake, I guess.
Well, what I find, like, back to my question about time, is, like, I feel like we just started talking about, is the soil fit? Are you ready to get into the field? And I'm already mentioning that word harvest, which is not too far around the corner here. It just feels like it's really slid by really quick, and it's kind of an unusual growing season. I can't really explain it. It just feels like it's just flown by. And I detected in a lot of what the farm, when we have the farmers here on the rapid fire, I'm detecting the same thing from them, that this year has just seemed to just sort of race through here. Maybe it is because of how well planting went.
Yeah, like it's the exact same here, Sean. Like, I mean, and everything germinated really quickly too. Like, peas were in the ground they were up 1 week after they were seeded, where sometimes they sit in the ground for several weeks before they're out of the ground. So it was quick germinating, and then we had some timely rain in there, and it's unbelievable how fast things are moving. So
yeah,
it seems like harvest is going to come around a lot quicker. You got to start looking at headers and stuff that I didn't look at in wintertime, and going through all the equipment. So that's all part of the game, I guess.
Well, and with some of that time, have you been able to sort out what you're going to do with some of your marketing?
Yeah, I mean, marketing, I don't know. Like at this point, typically most other years, like I'll have a decent amount of new crop booked. Now I have next to nothing, which I don't know. Markets are so volatile. I like what's happened with fertilizer prices. So I might jump on, booking some urea. But as for grain prices, I don't know. It's what to do there. So I really don't have a whole lot marketed right now for new crop at this point.
What's held you back?
Like I said, I typically do. I guess uncertainty of, I guess this whole growing season has just been so wonky. It's just been so fast forward that I'm scared that the crops are just going to burn up. Worst case scenario. So right. I don't. I'm kind of a little bit leery to book anything at this point. So.
Well, Mike, really appreciate you joining us here this week on the Farmer Rapid Fire. I hope that you get that rain that you deserve. Mother Nature follows through, cooperates, and gives us that the gift of water from the sky. And we'll check in with you a little bit later on in the growing season, okay?
Thank you, Sean. Appreciate it. Always fun chatting with you.
When we come back on RealAg Radio, we're going to talk to John Seliga. He's an area agronomist with Pioneer Seeds Canada in the deep southwest of Ontario. You're listening to RealAg Radio, brought to you by Pioneer Seeds Canada.
Peter Johnson at WheatPete, RealAgriculture.com. I'm the host of The Word, and I love doing The Word. I love the questions. I love the challenges. I love having to apply agronomics to all over the globe and areas outside of my normal jurisdiction. Also, I love the feedback the most, where growers challenge me, tell me about their plot results, help me to learn. The Word, absolutely the best part of my day.
Canola is more than just a pretty face in the prairie landscape. It's a big business, both here and around the world, that requires you to be informed and up to date on everything it takes to grow a successful crop. The Canola School on RealAgriculture.com has an expert library of video resources covering markets, agronomy, and more to help you grow a healthy and profitable canola crop. Visit canolaschool.com today. Brought to you by BASF Canada and Invigor Hybrid Canola.
And we finish off this week's Farmer Rapid Fire talking to our show sponsor, Pioneer Seeds Canada. And today we're joined by John Seliga. He's an area agronomist in the deep southwest of Ontario. Hey, John, great to have you on the show.
Thanks, Sean. Appreciate it.
Okay, now, how would you describe, in your territory there, how would you describe crop conditions?
Well, crop conditions have been, they've struggled in the last few weeks for sure, primarily due to the lack of moisture that we had for quite some time. Now, that situation was resolved somewhat this past Sunday.
Yeah, some rains coming through that really have made, they're going to make a difference.
They're going to make a difference. I'm not completely sure they are going to resolve all the cost of the drought that happened before that, but definitely a very welcomed event.
Yeah. And now, John, there has been some areas that have had some pretty devastating storms too, correct?
Yeah, that's right. Actually, just yesterday, throughout parts of my territory, we experienced quite a bit of hail, and obviously differing degrees of severity. But there are some. I have seen some reports and some pictures of some 6-leaf corn that's been taken down pretty much to the stalk. So there's going to be some decisions that have to get made here again now, following the added moisture.
Yeah. So from a corn perspective, when you look at the crop out there in a lot of customers' fields, what are some of the considerations right now that farmers are having to think about and experience?
So a lot of the crop right now is in that 5 to 7 leaf stage. It's switching over from its seed reserves to its nodal root system, and we're definitely even after the rain, we're still seeing some of those soil condition differences from the drought, right? So some uneven crop, definitely. The rain is going to help even that out, but the corn itself, I think, has a really good chance of recovery because it's fairly early on now.
Yeah, and how about the soybeans?
Soybeans had a little bit tougher time, I'd say, out of the gate. We had a lot of sluggish or slow emergence across my territories, especially on the heavy clay soils. A lot of beans that had been basically pinched in the seed trench, and some of them were snapping off. We've done a fair number of walks for growers looking at replant considerations. And of course, prior to the rain, there wasn't really a lot we could do because conditions were just so dry. There wasn't a lot of sense in putting seed in the ground. Now that we've had some moisture, I think we'll be doing some reassessments of stands and helping growers decide whether a replant is actually necessary.
Yeah, and this is the time of the year where the farmer or somebody in your position as an area agronomist, you bring your walking shoes to work every day, have no trouble getting your steps in because you're out there scouting like a crazy person from probably the start to the end of the day.
That is absolutely correct. Unfortunately, we become pretty popular this time of the year, and it does help from an exercise standpoint. But at the end of the day, this is maybe some of the more emotional time of the season for our customers, right? Trying to decide what the right thing is to do and separating the emotional side of it from the economic side of it.
So what do you do? Do you present kind of like here's the options and here's the potential outcomes from those, from if you choose door B, here's the potential of what happens or the considerations versus, door A. Is that the way that you do it, or how do you do it?
No, you have it exactly right. I mean, in this business of agriculture, there are rarely the right and wrong solutions to problems. There's various options, and each of them present, benefits and drawbacks. So the best thing to do from my standpoint is get your feet in the field and start getting a handle on, where your emergence is at and where your stands are at. And of course, very, very poor stands are an easy decision, and very good stands are an easy decision. And the ones that fall in between in that gray area are the ones that we tend to lose a little bit of sleep over trying to decide what the right decision is. But we like to see, like on the soybean side of things, we certainly like to see kind of a base population of 120,000 to the acre.
Super curious, John, from your perspective, when you're out there scouting a field, do you tend to walk a certain pattern, or how do you take in the information before you get to the options?
Sure. Great question, Shaun. And of course, the ideal approach to that is a random sampling of the field. I think, one of our tendencies when we walk into a field is to try to find the weakest points in the field that stand out to us and go assess them. But being disciplined and having a standard randomized approach gives you a much more even approach to what that field presents. And technology today, we're outfitted now with drones. They certainly have been a welcome addition to our tools, because we now have the option to randomly select using the drone different areas of the field. We can take more samples at a much quicker pace to get an idea on what the field's doing.
Yeah, great stuff. Hey, John, thanks so much for joining us here this week on the Farmer Rapid Fire. All the best to you, and we'll chat with you a little bit later on in the growing season, okay?
Sounds great, Shaun. Thank you very much.
As always, that feels like a very quick trip across the country, finding out how everyone's making out in their fields and their barns, and I really appreciate everybody stepping up and making some time this week for us here at RealAg Radio. If you have any feedback, or maybe you want to update us on your crop conditions, because, this is a random sample every week, and so we can't hit on every single area, but you can help me fill in some of the blanks by sending me an email, shaney@realagriculture.com. You can also find us across all the different social media platforms as Real Agriculture, or you can call that RealAg feedback line. The number is 855-776-6147. Big shout out to Pioneer Seeds Canada for being the sponsor of the Farmer Rapid Fire. Thanks so much, everybody, for getting real and getting connected with RealAg Radio, and we will chat again tomorrow. Cheers, everybody.